Awesome. So as I said, I want to speak about bringing mindfulness into the classroom, specifically focusing on the effects of de-stressing and inner resourcing and how that can help our students. So to begin with, I just want to distinguish between the words mindfulness and meditation, and then mindfulness meditation, because it's becoming a very hot word. To hear the word mindfulness and then to understand its context of how I want to use it in the classroom. So a lot of times when we hear mindfulness, it's to be mindful of what I'm saying, to be mindful of how I'm holding my body, to be mindful of what I'm eating, to be mindful of where I'm walking. So it's a very active and participatory thing. Now, meditation is often always has this preconceived notion of eyes closed, maybe hands in a particular position, always sitting. But meditation in and of itself is just giving the mind a one-pointed place of focusing, and through that one-pointed place of focusing, having a calming effect on one's mind, emotion, and body. Now, specifically when we bring those two together, mindfulness meditation is an act in which we can be standing, we can be sitting, we can be walking, we can be lying down, and within that position, we are allowing ourselves to be aware of, so using that mindfulness component, to be aware of thoughts, emotions, things that are happening around us if we have our eyes open. But then once they come and consume our attention and consume our awareness, revert our attention back to what I would like to call an anchor. An anchor is something that is outside of the mind and brings us back to the present moment. So one of those three anchors could be your breath, just noticing just your natural breathing. You could also focus on an area of the body. Specifically, we want to focus on areas that don't have pain or fatigue in it. So for some, it could be like your hands or your feet. The chest or your abdomen could be a charged area for some where you keep in anxiety. But for some, they also find it very relaxing and may be associated with the heart center. So with that, I just want to, before I begin to talk about the application in our classrooms, I just want to share a little bit about my prior experience of using it and how it contributes to my understanding of working with mindfulness in a diverse atmosphere that we see at universities. So my experience of working with mindfulness meditation has been, I've been a teacher of it for 10 years, and I've been living in New Bedford for just 2 years. And within my time of being in New Bedford, I've worked with several of the elementary schools, working with all of the children, and then teaching the teachers how to also work with the children once I'm gone. Working with the New Bedford Police Department, and then teaching the police officers how to hold it so that way when I'm gone, they can do it with their fellow officers. I also work with at-risk communities like Youth Build and other departments. So I'm working with adults, I'm working with children, I'm working with at-risk and very multicultural backgrounds. So just to give a little bit of a live view so you can get some real sort of people interaction with what I'm talking about. This is me at Winslow Elementary working with the students here, and so I come in once a week, about 25 minutes, talking with them and doing mindfulness meditation with them. And for them, it's really about socio-emotional learning. I'm at the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if you're aware of the NBB Well program, where we're working with the community at large to have more holistic wellness practices in their life, and it ranges from everything from nutrition counseling to meditation, yoga, qigong, looking how to get rid of smoking habits. Youth Build, the at-risk children from the ages of 16 to 24 who are either on the streets or didn't receive their high school diploma and are coming in and are getting life skills and are getting their GED. And then just the working with the police officers. Hope you love them. I really love them. This was downtown at Station 1, and so regular. I work with them during their roll calls. So in the morning and in the evening, after they give their roll calls, I sit with them for 15 minutes, and we work with mindfulness practices to self-regulate. So if we aren't already familiar, let's just review the effects of mindfulness practices, which can help with work efficiency, greater ability to focus, socio-emotional learning, self-regulation, But I really want to focus on the last two, which is why I titled my presentation on de-stressing, and then inner resourcing, which I'm going to say here, creative and critical thinking for our students in the classroom. So de-stressing in academia, this is something we already know, but let's continually remind ourselves about what our students are going through. Many of them are first-generation students, never been to college before, moving away from home, academic courseload, peer stress, bills of work, career direction, preparing for an MFA or PhD. You know, at this stage in the game, we're like, yeah, we got it. Maybe we're still struggling in the mornings or throughout the day to get it all done. But a lot of these students, this is a lot. And to have the remembrance that we need to help them process that stress in addition to giving them the resources to learn and go forward in their careers. So the inner resourcing part, so the ability to actually use the information that they're learned to critically think about, meaning to break all of the information apart that we're giving them and putting it together in new ways that helps to offer new perspectives that they can share out in the world and whatever professions that they're going into. So to be able to access that ability to inner resource, we need to decrease the stress. So all of these stresses are healthy stresses. For some, maybe they exceed to unhealthy stresses, but addressing the stresses in addition to their ability to critically think go hand in hand. So I would like to show you a little bit about what I've been doing in my classrooms at the CBPA. So first and foremost, I integrate it into my syllabus. I say we're going to be doing mindfulness in a semester, and I talk a little bit about it. I break it down. I talk about it in a very secular way. It has no religious associations, and how it can help us calm, be reflective, and have those inner resourcing skills. I want to always make sure that it's optional for them, because I never want them to feel that they have to. If they're coming in for an art class and they may think, well, I didn't sign up for a mindfulness class, you know, I need to learn art. Okay, then you don't have to. But if you're not, just please don't be on your phones or do anything else. Just have a quiet time, and some opt out for that and enjoy that too. Ideally start at the beginning of class so that way you can start from there and embark on the rest of your class. And then just create a nice atmosphere that is associated to it. It's like Pavlov's effect. Turn off the lights, close the door, and all of a sudden everybody's like, okay, it's mindfulness time. After that, set your timer for 10 minutes, just doing it really short. Practice, and for some, that's a really long time. Insight Timer, if you're not familiar with it, is a wonderful application to use. After the 10 minutes, ask them to slowly open their eyes, and just for 1 minute, have their eyes open for integration. Afterwards, turn the lights on and begin your class. So let's talk a little bit about that 10-minute section, that formal practice section, because for many of you guys, you may be hearing, well, I don't know mindfulness, maybe I've never done mindfulness, how am I going to be a teacher of mindfulness in my classroom? Well, I'm going to give you some resources a little bit later that you can have access to, but I'm going to talk to you about how really easy and simple it can be, which I referenced at the beginning of the presentation. First is always allow everybody to know that they can have their eyes open or eyes closed. It's a misconception that mindfulness or meditation is something that is with your eyes closed. And for some, that can activate anxiety. So we don't want to create that. We want to create a calming effect. So give that option. The second is tell the students about the 3 anchors: your breath, your body, sounds in the environment. And then during that process of when you're sitting, just know, okay, so I have one of my anchor. I'm going to say right now that my anchor is my breath. If as I'm focusing on my breath, all of a sudden I go into, I got to do that after class today. Oh, there goes a thought. Bring it back to the breath. Ooh, how long have I been in here? Has it been 5 minutes yet? Oh, there's a thought. Bring it back to the breath. And then as those thoughts continually go out, and as we do, even as you're sitting with me right now listening, you may have a thought bubble that's going out that you may want to ask me later. Or the next presenter that's coming up, what do I have to say next? Oh, wait a second, bring it back. And so when you continually do that, it creates neural pathways in the brain for us to be more present, to process stress, and have access to those inner resources. Lastly, I just want to adjust, because it's so super important and something I'm always aware of with the community members that I deal with on a larger basis, in addition to the classroom, I'm trauma sensitive. Not everybody is comfortable with their bodies. To bring your awareness to your breath or to your body, for some, can create anxiety. It can activate PTSD. And so we don't want to tread into that territory. So just allow yourself to create the open effect of saying sounds, things away from the body, and eyes open are great ways for being trauma sensitive. So don't be discouraged. Lastly, if you're not aware of, UMass has a MPSR Mindfulness Center. It is one of very small amounts of centers in the whole country. This university, you have access to such amazing resources. And in addition to that, one of the supervisors for it wrote an amazing book on the Clinician's Guide for Mindfulness Teaching. Very simple, very layman, very accessible to you. And then lastly, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I would love to work with you and hear from you.
Thank you. Our next